Hey everyone, welcome to another video on the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a possible trade that could change the future of two of the most interesting teams in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trail Blazers. And of course, we'll also analyze the impact of the surprising Miami Heat victory over the Warriors and what that could mean for Steve Kerr's team. Don't miss any details because this is one of those moments that could define the season for both franchises. Stick around until the end, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss anything that's coming up. The anticipation for Jimmy Butler's reunion with the Miami Heat was sky high. Many were eagerly waiting to see the impact of Butler playing for the Golden State Warriors, hoping he would activate his playoff mode and lead the team to victory. However, what fans witnessed was a reality check. The Warriors were completely dominated by the Heat, suffering a crushing defeat by 112-86. But what makes this game even more significant is that the story goes much deeper than just the score. This setback could be a clear warning that Steve Kerr's team is in a delicate situation, with the season at risk of slipping away. The big question now is, what does this loss mean for the Warriors' future? And believe me, this is just the beginning of the discussion. What few noticed is that this Miami Heat victory is not just an isolated win, but could be the turning point that completely changes the course of the NBA season. To better understand this scenario, we need to go back a little in time, before the trade deadline ended. When the Warriors made the trade to bring in Jimmy Butler, expectations were sky high. Many believed this move would be the missing piece to pull the San Francisco team out of the play-in race and turn them into a strong playoff team. And for a while, everything seemed to suggest that this prediction was correct. Butler's arrival was a real boost for the Warriors, who quickly embarked on an impressive 12-game winning streak, pushing any signs of crisis aside and once again positioning themselves among the most competitive teams in the league. However, the scenario changed drastically when Stephen Curry suffered an injury. Without their leader on the floor, the team lost strength, and this loss to the Heat exposed a worrying problem. The Warriors cannot rely solely on Butler to maintain a high competitive level. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat situation was far from smooth. Butler's departure was a hard blow for the franchise. He left the team at a critical moment in the season, and on top of that, missed important games due to a suspension for disciplinary issues. This period without Butler was catastrophic for the Heat, who accumulated 10 consecutive losses, something that hadn't happened in over a decade and a half. This negative streak caused the team to plummet in the Eastern Conference standings, raising doubts about their ability to bounce back. But then, in the midst of this turbulent scenario, the Heat found a way to turn things around. With a dominant performance against the Warriors, the team finally broke their losing streak and revived their hopes for a play-in spot. Now, with 31 wins in 72 games, the Heat are back to dreaming of a place in the top 10, which would give them one last chance to compete in the postseason. Now, while the Miami Heat's recovery and the Golden State Warriors crisis dominate the discussions in the NBA, there is another behind-the-scenes movement that could drastically impact the future of the league. The Portland Trail Blazers are in a moment of transformation and seeking to rewrite their history. After the departure of one of their biggest stars, the franchise faces both a challenge and a unique opportunity to rebuild its identity, find new leaders, and prepare to compete again among the top teams in the NBA. To achieve this, the Blazers are active in the market, analyzing various possibilities to shape their future. Behind the scenes, the Portland management has been meticulously studying the best options, with a clear focus to combine promising young talents with a well-planned long-term strategy. It is exactly within this context that an ambitious trade proposal involving the Golden State Warriors arises. The trade between the Trail Blazers and Warriors could represent a strategic move for both teams, but with a deeper impact on Portland's future. The central idea of the trade is for the Blazers to receive a young player with the potential to become a star, along with a second promising player who would bring versatility to the roster. But the real cherry on top would be 2 first-round draft picks, ensuring valuable assets for the future of the team. For a team in rebuilding mode, these draft picks are essential. They represent not only the possibility of recruiting new talents, but also the flexibility for future moves in the market. On the other hand, the Warriors, who are still trying to maintain competitiveness and fight for titles, would receive two players who have already shown flashes of talent. One of them has stood out defensively and has great potential for growth, while the other has shown significant improvement on offense. However, as with any high-impact trade, there are risks involved. One of the players who could be involved in the deal has a concerning injury history, raising questions about his long-term durability. Still, for the Warriors, this trade would bring depth to the roster, something essential for a team looking to stay competitive in the Western Conference. The centerpiece of this proposal would be a young player with a rare combination of size, skills, and potential to become an all-star in the future. This athlete could represent exactly what Portland needs to build its new identity. With the right development and an environment conducive to growth, he would have all the tools to take center stage in the franchise. In addition to him, the Blazers would also receive another player who could contribute immediately on offense and still has potential to improve defensively. His versatility would be an important asset for a team looking to reorganize after drastic changes. The impact of this move would not only be immediate, but, more importantly, long-term. The two players Portland could receive would play a key role in the team's reconstruction, and the first-round draft picks would be valuable assets to shape the future of the franchise. For the Trail Blazers, this trade represents a shift in mindset. The team wants to build something solid and sustainable, leaving the mistakes of the past behind and adopting a clear vision for the future. The goal is not just to form a competitive roster, but to ensure that the team can grow consistently in the upcoming seasons. On the other hand, for the Warriors, this trade would also have a significant impact. Despite the risks, the team would gain reinforcements that could contribute immediately and help in the fight for a new title. However, the big question that arises is, would this move be enough to place Golden State back among the favorites for the title? With Stephen Curry's injury and the team's fluctuation, the Warriors are in a moment of uncertainty. The team has already shown flashes of great basketball with Butler's arrival, but they still need to find a way to be consistent without relying solely on their stars. If this trade actually happens, it could represent a turning point in the season or simply a new chapter of uncertainties for the franchise. Meanwhile, the Portland Trail Blazers look at this possible move with a focus on the future. The management is focused on ensuring that the team is well-positioned for the coming years, and this trade could be the first step in transforming the franchise into a true powerhouse once again. If this trade between the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trail Blazers actually happens, it won't just be another common trade move in the NBA. It could represent a turning point for both teams, marking the beginning of new eras for each of them. For the Warriors, the trade symbolizes a bet on roster renewal. Although the team is still fighting for a playoff spot, the reality is that the season has been filled with challenges. The arrival of Jimmy Butler made an immediate impact, but Stephen Curry's absence due to injury exposed the team's weaknesses. Without their greatest on-court reference, the team has shown concerning inconsistencies, and this raises an important question. Are the Warriors ready for a future without Curry? The trade with Portland may reflect this thinking within the franchise. While the primary goal is still to compete in the present, this move might indicate that the management is already thinking about what comes after the Curry era. For the Trail Blazers, this trade could represent the decisive step in solidifying a new cycle. In recent years, the team has faced difficulties in building a truly competitive roster. Even with great players in the past, like Damian Lillard, the franchise was never able to provide the necessary support to seriously contend for a title. Now the focus is on a solid rebuilding plan based on developing young talents and making the most of draft picks. But one thing is certain, this trade would bring risks for both sides. Risks for the Golden State Warriors. The big question for the Warriors is whether this move would truly have a positive impact in the short term. On one hand, the team would gain two promising players and more depth to the roster. On the other hand, losing draft picks and betting on players who have yet to fully prove themselves could be a shot in the foot. Additionally, One of the players involved in the trade has a concerning injury history, which could limit his contribution to the team. Considering that the Warriors are already dealing with health issues with their key players, adding another athlete with this problem could be a significant risk. Another point to consider is the adaptation of these new players to Steve Kerr's system. The Warriors' style of play is based on ball movement, quick cuts, and spacing on the floor, something that not all players can quickly absorb. Would these new pieces fit in and add value to the team right away? But perhaps the biggest dilemma is the emotional and strategic impact of this trade. If the Warriors actually accept this move, it could indicate that the franchise is starting to plan for a future without Curry, and this possibility might not be well received by part of the fan base or even veteran players who still believe the team can compete for titles now. Risks for the Portland Trail Blazers. For the Portland Trail Blazers, this trade represents a big bet on the future, but that doesn't mean it's a guarantee of success. The franchise would be heavily investing in the development of young talent. But as with any rebuild in the NBA, this could take time and patience. The big risk is that if these players don't reach their full potential, the team might end up stuck in a mediocre phase, unable to compete at the top and without pieces to attract new stars in the future. Another factor to consider is that while draft picks are valuable, they don't always result in players who make an immediate impact. Many franchises have put everything into the draft, only to be disappointed by players who didn't live up to expectations. Additionally, there's the issue of short-term competitiveness. Even if the Blazers are focused on the future, the fan base wants to see results and progress. If the franchise enters a cycle of consecutive losses for many seasons, this could affect the team's culture and even the motivation of younger players. Therefore, the Portland management must be very careful in structuring this rebuilding process, ensuring that the team has a clear path forward and that these new pieces truly fit into the franchise's vision. What to expect from the future of these two franchises? With so many uncertainties in the air, one thing is for sure. The next decisions by the Warriors and the Trail Blazers will shape not only their seasons, but also the coming years of the NBA. For Golden State, the focus is still on competing in the present, but this trade could be an indication that the franchise is already thinking about the transition to a new era. The big challenge will be balancing the pursuit of a new title while beginning to prepare the team for a future without its biggest star. For the Portland Trail Blazers, this move could be the foundation for a solid and well-structured restart. If the franchise knows how to use these new pieces wisely and make smart draft choices, it could be taking the first steps toward becoming a major force once again. Now the question remains, will this trade actually happen? Rumors indicate that conversations between the two teams are progressing, but so far, nothing has been finalized. However, if this trade does come to fruition, we could be witnessing one of the most significant moments of this NBA season. The NBA landscape is constantly changing, and recent rumors suggest that the Golden State Warriors might be about to make a surprising move in the market. The name circulating behind the scenes is that of Kai Sotto, the talented Filipino center who has been gaining attention for his versatile game and enormous potential. If this move actually happens, it could mean not only a technical boost for the Warriors, but also a massive cultural impact for the franchise and for the NBA as a whole. The potential arrival of Kai Sotto to the Golden State Warriors carries a special weight. The team is known for its ability to develop talent and its modern game philosophy based on ball movement and floor spacing. Kai, with his impressive height of 7.2 and a skill set that goes beyond the conventional for centers, could fit perfectly into this system. But what really stands out is not just the technical aspect, but the story this signing could tell. Kai Sotto is more than just a promising young talent. He represents an entire country passionate about basketball. The Philippines is known for its intense basketball culture, and Kai's rise to the global stage symbolizes the dream of many young athletes from the country. His journey is marked by challenges and achievements, from his early departure from the Philippines in search of international opportunities to his performance in competitive leagues like Australia's NBL and Japan's B-League. Kai Sotto's journey through professional basketball hasn't been simple. He had to give up the comfort of home to seek growth in foreign leagues, facing physical and tactical challenges that helped shape him as a player. In Australia, he proved that he could compete against high-level athletes, showing defensive potential and good game awareness. In Japan, he further refined his skills, developing a reliable mid-range shot and proving he could be more than just a traditional rim protector. The question many Warriors fans are asking is, how would Kai Sotto fit into the team? The Warriors have a recent history of struggling to find a dominant presence in the paint. With a playing style focused on shooting and fast transitions, the team often lacks a center who can provide both rim protection and offensive impact near the basket. Kai Sotto could be exactly the missing piece. His defensive game is one of the main attractions. With an impressive wingspan, he has the ability to block shots and contest finishes in the paint, something essential for any team looking for defensive solidity. Additionally, his presence on the boards could help the Warriors improve one of their weak points, securing second-chance opportunities on offense and limiting opponents to just one possession per play. But Kai Sotto is not just a defensive player. Unlike many traditional centers, he has an interesting mobility for someone his size. His ability to move well without the ball and finish near the basket could add a new element to the Warriors' offense. And more than that, his mid-range shooting ability could create more spacing, allowing the team's stars more freedom to attack. Beyond the on-court impact, Kai Sotto's potential arrival at the Golden State Warriors would have enormous relevance off it. The NBA has been increasingly investing in its global expansion, and signing a standout Filipino player would be a strategic step to gain even more fans in Asia. The Bay Area, home to the Warriors, has one of the largest Filipino communities in the United States, which would make the connection between the team and this fan base even stronger. The rise of international players in the NBA is a growing trend. In recent years, we've seen athletes from different parts of the world becoming stars in the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic are just a few examples of how basketball has truly become global. Kai Sotto could be the next to follow this path, and the Warriors have the perfect environment to help him develop his full potential. If this move actually happens, it won't just be about basketball. It will be a story of representation, of a young man carrying the hopes of an entire country and potentially opening doors for future generations of Filipino players. The impact of his presence on the Warriors would go far beyond the court, influencing fans, sponsors, and even the way the NBA expands into new markets. Kai Sotto's arrival to the Warriors could also represent a shift in how the team builds its roster for the future. With an experienced and consolidated core, the franchise needs to think about renewal and how to maintain its success in the years to come. Betting on a young talent like Kai could be a strategic move for both the present and the future. Now, it remains to be seen whether the Warriors will actually make this signing happen. Speculation indicates there is interest, but there are still many factors to consider. Is the team willing to take a chance on a young talent who still needs to prove himself in the NBA? And is Kai Sotto ready to make that leap and face the challenges of the world's most competitive league? What's certain is that if this signing happens, it will be a landmark moment for the NBA and for Filipino basketball. Kai Sotto has the opportunity to make history and show that players from any part of the world can dream big and reach the biggest stages of the sport. And if there's a team that knows how to turn talents into stars, it's the Golden State Warriors. And you, fan, what do you think of this possibility? Do you believe Kai Sotto could be the missing piece for the Warriors? So that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything about the Warriors. See you next time.